Welcome back to The Right Idea. I'm Kristen Soltis, and with us this week we have Tyler Harbour of Wilson National Research, and we have Chris Malagese, president of the Young Conservatives Coalition. Our first topic is kind of branching off of a Gallup study that came out a little bit ago that showed that if you take all of their survey data from January through basically June and you merge it all together, they show that in almost every state across the country, they show things becoming more Democratic or fairly solidly Democratic. And it shows a lot of states that are pretty red states, and it lists them as like lean Democratic. I mean, Tyler, what's your take on that?
You know, when you start defining Kentucky and Georgia and Mississippi as lean Democratic states, I think it's probably a very clear indication that your data may be a little wrong. What they've done, though, is like most pollsters, is to ask, you know, do you identify yourself as Republican or Democratic, and more importantly, you know, do you feel that you're an independent? This is where this kind of breaks down. If you identify yourself as an independent, they ask you a follow-up question. Well, do you lean more toward the Republicans or more toward the Democratic Party? And so during the 6-month period of time, what you found is compounded by a number of issues. The image of the Republican Party is still very low, very bad. And so over a period of time, you've got these independents who are leaning away from the Republican Party just because of the terminology. The other aspect here is anytime that you're looking at a 6-month period of time, you tend to have some issue skewing. You've got cap and trade, you've got health care, you've got a number of other aspects there that would cause this middle ground, these independents, to begin to identify themselves toward the party or away from the party that they obviously support or oppose the definition for.
You've got two things going on right now. The first thing is that, well, I agree with Tyler that it's very issue-based. People are deciding their identification based on issues that are going on today. I'm for cap and trade, I'm against universal health care. I'm against the stimulus, but I'm for something else. So I think people are identifying more on issues than they are by party right now. You may get a Democrat-liberal base that is excited that finally they're having their dream programs come true and they're really excited, so it could be pulling them more left. On the other side, you could have a lot of people not necessarily identifying themselves as Republicans, but those that may be excited just because that there are these big issues that are out there like healthcare, that they're against universal socialized healthcare, so they're becoming more conservative in the sense that they don't want these big government programs.
When you start breaking it down and when you ask a voter, what are you? Are you conservative or are you moderate or are you liberal? Well, no voter, very few voters are conservative on all issues, or liberal on all issues, or moderate on all issues. So it really depends. A lot of times you can survey the same state over and over again, and you'll always get some fluctuation, even outside the margin of error. And I think you're right. I think it very much is contextual as to what you're asking about. What is the issue of the day? What is the issue in the forefront of their mind at that moment when they're being asked? And I agree. I think it's very contextual.
I can understand if you want to say that America has become more democratic over the last few years, but over the last 6 months, I can't fathom that the United States has actually become more democratic than it was in November of 2008 when Democrats came and took everything. You know, I mean,
I agree.
Republicans, you know, I don't think that we've done a fantastic job in the minority, but I think that Democrats have, you know, really shown their hand and really started to overreach. And I cannot buy a poll that says that, you know, states like Alabama are becoming swing states.
They've looked at all of this data from even before the inauguration to June, which you had a significant part of that time where Obama was enjoying and the Democratic Party was enjoying what we refer to as their honeymoon phase. And so there was a slight bump, even not slight, but I mean a several point bump in the image of the Democratic Party, and then we saw the image of the Republican Party kind of fall off. Now that's starting to normalize a little bit, but I agree. I think that whenever you take 6 months worth of data, especially when looking at how much has been going on, it's hard to make a real justification that is a realistic view of the electorate.
You had John McCain, by most circumstances would say he's not a conservative. You have a lot of people saying that the conservative side wasn't necessarily represented in this past election. You know, when it came to issues like the bailout, McCain was for the bailout, Obama was for the bailout. When it came to taxes, McCain was for tax cuts. Well, Obama at the time was saying he was against taxes. When it came to environmental issues, Obama was saying he was for cap and trade. McCain was talking like Democrat light when it came to that. There was not any real big differences between these guys. So when maybe if there's a pull to conservative, it's maybe because finally, you know, something like the Tea Parties or this resistance with these town hall meetings about universal health care, they're associating it with the term conservative, and that could be a driver too that's pushing that.
That's true, and we've seen the rise of the true fiscal conservative again, and this, especially in the past 4 to 6 years, has not been a real key indicator. I mean, you've got, you know, these soft conservatives, and they're conservative on, you know, 4 or 5 different issues, but we haven't had this coalescence of this fiscal issue, and now that spending is this major issue, I think we can see a lot more voters start to say, hey, yeah, I'm conservative because I don't want the government to spend all my money.
Well, hey, thanks for tuning in this week. We'll be back on Thursday to talk a little bit more, and we're going to drill down on kind of the youth vote, my favorite topic. So we hope you'll join us then.